Good evening, everyone. Another episode of Nerds of the North. It's time to continue our epic fantasy adventures. Starting off today, we're continuing our series. This is The Wheel of Time, Book 5, The Fires of Heaven. Holy crap. Fires of Heaven is the first of the larger books of The Wheel of Time. Yes, it sounds very weird saying it, but it's much larger than the previous books. At least that's how it feels like when you're going through it. And in physical form, it's also a little bit bigger as well. Now, a lot of the stuff, the reason this one's taking me a little bit longer to get through is there's a lot of stuff I completely forgot happened in this book. I knew it happened. I knew all these events took place, but this is the book that seemed to have so much occur. To start us all off, this is where Rand leads the Aiel out of the Waste. Takes all the tribes of the Aiel over the Dragon Wall. And he doesn't wait for the last 4 remaining tribes to join him. Why? Because Couladin has led the Shaido over the Dragon Wall and plans to burn everything that Rand al'Thor holds dear. This means Rand has to get out and Rand has to stop him. So you have an entire group of people leaving. All the Aiel leaving, and Moiraine has taken control over the peddler Hadan Kadir to take as many ter'angreal, sa'angreal, and angreal out of Rhuidean as she possibly can. She's got wagons full of this stuff, including one of the stone ter'angreal that actually Mat went through and grabbed this beautiful Ashen Darai from. Yes, it's in my videos because I want it to be. So, this is quite the long trek. Now, from Shadow Rising, what we actually learned was one of the members of the peddler's wagons, Jason Natale, was actually a little character known only as Asmodean, one of the male Forsaken. One of the only people around currently who is be able to teach Rand al'Thor how to channel. Due to being caught in a trap with Lanfear, Asmodean now has a shield on him that will allow him to channel a very small trickle of his power, enough to be able to teach Rand al'Thor how to do things. That's quite interesting, because now the Dragon Reborn now has his personal bard that he has to try very, very hard not to let loose the fact that his bard is actually a Forsaken, or a Chosen, depending on which side of the coin you land on there. So, continuing on from that, we do have a great battle. The Battle for Cairhien. This is something huge, because you have to deal with Rand taking everyone, trying to stop the Shaido from destroying Cairhien. He's got these perfectly built spy towers with giant telescopes on them so we can view the battlefield. Pretty handy thing. Also a major target on a battlefield. This is where we also find out, truthfully, that something has changed in Mat Cauthon. This is where Son of Battles starts to make sense. He walks in, spends 10 minutes looking at the actual physical battle maps and battle plans, and actually not the plans, but just the battle maps and where everything's positioned. And in 10 minutes has come up with the exact battle plan that the Aiel chiefs and Lan and Rand have dug up and worked on for days. So, I guess goes to show you right away, something's up with Matrim Cauthon here. even more said because this is where Matrim Cauthon takes off and really becomes into his own. This is the formation of the Band of the Red Hand. You meet Telmanus, you meet Nalesian, and the formation of the Band of the Red Hand as Mat leads the squad of soldiers around the battlefield, taking them through battles and battles and battles, but keeping them alive, primarily. Now, there are some other things that have happened in this. You have, I'll be backtracking a little bit here, Rand dealing with the Shadowhounds, or Darkhounds, that approach. You have Mat falling for, or not so much falling for, but getting together with a Aiel Shaido maiden, which turns out comes back to haunt him for that, because she tries to kill him. She's a dark friend. Wow! Who would have thought that there'd be a dark friend among the Shaido? Come on. So, what else happens in this book that I can remember off the top of my head right now? What else has left an impact in my mind? How about Min and Siuan and Lyanna getting away from the tower, getting away from the war that breaks out with the tower, and trying to find a place where the blues would all meet up. Trying to find Salidar. They managed to do it. But this is also where they run afoul of Gareth Bryn, because of an oath-breaking moment where Siuan and the other two, give an oath to Gareth Bryn. Give the strongest oath that only a dark friend would break. Getting down on their knees, by the light and by my hope and salvation of rebirth, I swear this. It is one of the strongest oaths you can possibly swear. Now, they break this oath. They break this oath pretty quickly, as it's time for them to get away, time for them to go and pardon me. Time for them to go. They have to try and continue on their quest. This is what intrigues Gareth Bryn as to why this woman who gives such a strong oath, this woman with such deep eyes, would break this oath that only a dark friend would break. Now, this is what sets Gareth Bryn on their tail. In turn, this is what brings Gareth Bryn to the Salidar Aes Sedai. Without that, this would have never happened. Without that oath breaking, they would have never gotten Gareth Bryn. They would have never gotten this massive army. So many threads getting tied together. It's insane. I love it. That's why I love the series. Of course, once they sign on, congratulations, now you swore to be servants to Gareth Bryn. Well, you're going to be servants to Gareth Bryn, even though now you're in the Aes Sedai camp. Yay! We have Nynaeve and Elaine and Tom and Juilin trying to get away and trying to get to Salidar, only they can't remember the name of the place. Once they finally do remember the name, it comes out very oddly. It's just a random word mentioned, and Nynaeve snap-on remembers it. So, between learning how to dreamwalk, being taught by Egwene, and everything else that they're trying to figure out, they come across Vaylin Luca. Remember I talked about the traveling menagerie in my first entry video for this? They come across Vaylin Luca and spend time in Vaylin Luca's camp. Elaine learns how to high walk. Starts by using the power, but learns how to high walk. Julian's up there with her. Tom is doing his fire eating, his throwing of knives, and is supposed to be throwing them at Nynaeve. And that's what Nynaeve's job is, even though she's the one that's supposed to just be handing out the money. Then the intriguing thing happens. While in Tela and Riyadh, Nynaeve comes across Brigitte Silverbow, and Brigitte helps her find the Forsaken, helps her find Mogadine, specifically. The one that Nynaeve has already bested once. She beat Mogadine in a battle of wills with the power, just by locking strength with her and distracting her by throwing something at her. And then ran away. Not a bad job. Like, you managed to stand toe-on-toe with a Forsaken. Great. When she surprises you in the world of dreams, however, that's a completely different story, because you can't channel all that well in the world of dreams, Nynaeve. Due to this, and due to what ends up happening, this is where Brigitte gets forced out of the pattern. She is now in the world, and she remembers exactly who she is. This has not happened before. She has been let go from the wheel. She is now an individual thread, and she's going to start... She's terrified of this, because she's never been like this, or hasn't been like this in so long. She's also dying. They don't know how to stop it. Nynaeve can't heal her. So what does Elaine do? Bonds her as a warder. Keeps the girl alive. And now you've got this whole fun interplay between the three of them, and Nynaeve thinking she did everything wrong. It's kind of fun. Then they head off. They get to Saladar. They start teaching the council how to do, or start teaching the tower circle there how to do everything. Back to being complete accepted again. Gotta love all this fun stuff. While this is going on, the Battle of Carrion is taking place. When the Battle of Carrion is over and done with, we have Rand getting a message that is something he did not want to hear. And comes in, they're talking, he's talking about something with Moraine and Egwene, and Avienda is there. And Mat walks into the tent. He's like, "Oh, well, this is what's going on, eh?" So, he's like, "Yeah, yes, I already know that." "Oh, really? So you know everything?" "Well, I guess then I don't have to tell you that the Queen of Andor is dead, and Gabriel has proclaimed himself king." "Wait, what?" Yeah, Rand now believes that Morghese is dead. We know that Morghese has run away. She's managed to overcome, even just for a moment, the compulsion that Gabriel, or Ravine, has placed upon her, and has run away with some loyalists. Leni the nurse, Talonvor the soldier, who you'll remember from Eye of the World. Talonvor was there. He's the one that brought Rand to see Morghese. Also, we have the the innkeeper. I'm forgetting his name right now, but he's the innkeeper of the Queen's Blessing. And we have his security guard on the door, and the guard's girlfriend. They all come along. And that's where we're left off. We're left off with knowing that Morghese has left, and she is alive. However, Andor now thinks she's dead. A king has been proclaimed, and Rand goes into a fury over this. Storms off. He's like, "No, this is not happening. I'm going to go. We're going to take care of this right now." Does it in such a way that he almost loses the faith. Well, he did lose the faith of the maidens. He had to work on getting the faith back with the maidens, because he insulted them pretty bad. You can kind of see why, but the insult was there, and when they start snapping their spears because they now have no purpose, it came across. It was a really well done scene. Moiraine is there, and she tries, before we head off to battle, Rand, you have to come and see this. You have to come down to the docks. Why? What's the purpose of going down to the docks? He walks down there on a progression down to the docks, and Lanfear jumps out of nowhere and attacks, and freaks out after finding out from Haddan Kadir what has gone on their traveling from the Waste to Cairhien. Rand and Aviendha had a moment. Something happens, and Aviendha freaks out, and snap. There's a gateway. The first pure use of a gateway that I can remember. And she bolts through it off into the snow. Rand doesn't know what he does, throws a wedge into the gateway to keep it open, and tears off after her. Aviendha's fallen into a lake. She's freezing. He manages to create a igloo of snow around them with the power. She's still freezing. Well, how do you warm someone who's suffering from hypothermia? You use lots of blankets and body heat to warm them back up. And body heat became a little bit more intimate. Oh well, it's going to happen. Lanfear learns of this from, before I get back to that point, yeah, where did Aviendha take a gateway to? The lands beyond the Aerith Ocean. She made a gateway to freaking Seanchan. And they get attacked on the way back, and now Rand has the tip of a Seanchan spear as his dragon scepter. Yeah, that's gonna go over well. Now the Seanchan know that the dragon exists. Good job. Now, heading back to the point with Lanfear, upon learning that Haddan Kadir has, or what Haddan Kadir has told her, she freaks out. His caravan, his wagon just explodes after she managed to tear the flesh off of him in one piece. You let another one touch you, Lews Therin? Oh, it was great. This big old battle. Egwene, Aviendha, Moiraine, they can't do anything to get to Lanfear. She's got a ter'angreal on her wrist. I think it's a ter'angreal powerful enough that can almost be called sa'angreal. A porcelain figure who looks like a gymnast, but you realize that they're bound wrist to ankles, bent backwards around someone's wrist. Okay, kind of cool. Lanfear starts putting all her attentions onto Lews Therin. She's tortured the women, still is torturing the women. She's trying to kill Lews Therin at the same time. And because she decided not to pay attention anymore, and her frame is so light, Moraine's slightness and small form doesn't even budge the wagon as she climbs up onto it. She tackles Lanfear through the stone archway ter'angreal into the realm of the Aelfin and Ylfin, and the ter'angreal melts and explodes. Moiraine Damodred is gone. Lanfear is gone. And from this moment, we have a brief respite as Rand does a little bit of sit down and getting his senses together. And then it's off to Caemlyn. And he gateways into Caemlyn, right to the spot where he knew the most, the stone wall that he climbs over in Eye of the World to get into the palace. And he's got tons of Aiel there with him. He's dragged Mat through. He's got Aviendha with him. And he looks around, and at the last minute he realizes this is midday. There's no one around. This street should be busy. Bang! The stone wall comes falling down, crushing the Aiel who are trying to climb it and the Aiel down below as Trollocs pour through. Trollocs and Myrddraal come sweeping up the streets. Lightning start flashing down from the sky and just begin to decimate his people. Mat, dead. Aviendha, dead. Rhuarc, dead. Just people start dying everywhere. Rand loses control. Completely loses his control. With a horrific scream of Rahvin! Gateway flashes open to Rahvin's palace, where he's entertaining his servants, or his dark friends, whatever they are, the lords and ladies. And Rahvin's surprised that this boy has stepped through his trap. And he steps through by throwing fire and lightning, and the battle is on. What's interesting about this battle? This is where Rand starts hearing, "Hello, I am Lews Therin. And Ilyena, oh my god, Ilyena." This is where Rand starts to go mad. This is where you really get to see the madness creeping into Rand. To the point where he doesn't want to, he is fighting for control. He's actually beginning to fight Lews Therin for control over Saiyadin. Oh, wow. This battle is amazing. To top it all off, once this quick part of the battle happens, cut, you're over here. You're over here with Nynaeve in Tel'aran'rhiod, teaching Siuan how to control Tel'aran'rhiod. And then there's a sudden flash of fear, because Nynaeve recognized a face in the window. Nynaeve steps forward, rips the stone ring off of Siuan's neck, so Siuan wakes up, and then flees. Because the face she saw in the window was Moghedien. And she's terrified of Moghedien, because the Forsaken's already bested her once in Tel'aran'rhiod, and she can't have it happen again. Sure enough, Moghedien follows her. And with a last-minute step-in of Birgitte Silverbow to distract Moghedien, Nynaeve creeps forward, begging, pleading, "Please don't touch me, please don't hurt me, please don't touch me, I'll be good, I'll be good, I'll be good." Finally, Moghedien just looks down, "You're close enough, stay there." And Nynaeve's like, "Yeah, you know what? I am close enough. I'm focusing a pure image of my mind of a silver bracelet on my wrist, connected to the silver collar around your neck. Moghedien, you are now under control of an eidam." Holy crap! This was amazing! You put an eidam on the Forsaken in Tel'aran'rhiod so powerfully that she actually believes it is real. And because Moghedien believes it is real, she's screwed. She can't take it off. It's insane! This is the point where you have Nynaeve and Moghedien heading off through to Caemlyn to help out Rand al'Thor. Then Rand and Rahvin step into Tel'aran'rhiod to continue their battle. Nynaeve manages to be a distraction at the last minute, and Rand lets loose balefire. A powerful blast of balefire burns Rahvin out of the pattern, burns him back far enough that the attack at the beginning, where everyone died, didn't happen. Because Rahvin was burnt back far enough that he couldn't plan that ambush. One of the major fails with Balefire right there. This is why it's such a dangerous weave to use. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Fires of Heaven, as far as I can remember. Oh my god, this is where the book really starts to hit home, when you're getting the battles with the Forsaken, and now that Rand is going mad, you really get to see this madness appearing in him. Now we're going to have just bickering fights back and forth, the battles for control over Sayadine between Lews Therin and Rand al'Thor. There's a part in this battle where Rand forgot who he was. He steps into the world of Tel'aran'rhiod and begins to fade away and become Lews Therin, and has to fight for control to bring himself back. It leaves you speechless. It locks the images in your mind. Now, I knew all this stuff happened. I didn't realize it all happened in one book. Just so much in this book. Which is where it brings up my problem with the next book. This book ends with so much happening. And then you go whack right into the brick wall of the prologue of Lords of Chaos. The 78-page oh, we're talking politics about the Two Rivers. Oh, we're talking this over here. Oh, we're talking this over here. Oh, you want to see Rand? Yeah, right, you gotta wait. It's the exact reason why I could not get through Book 6. It's such a slow start. After such a fantastic finale for Book 5, starting Book 6, it's like you're in frozen molasses, and you gotta work your way out of it. Well, that book is for the next review, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. It will be coming. I'm starting the Lords of Chaos audiobook this evening, and we'll see how much I can refresh into my memory. Don't need to refresh too much, because Lords of Chaos actually is one of my better remembered books, just because of what happens. So until then, keep your Ashendare handy. This is Matt saying, take care.